Hello and welcome, friends. Welcome to another episode where I review modern fountain pen pieces. This time I have for you a rather special fountain pen, and I present to you the Sheaffer Targa in this matte black with gold trim finish. The code of this fountain pen is 1003. This particular model is fitted with a very special nib, and you can see I have the original sticker here. Yes, we have an oblique broad nib, and I find this thing quite special because this fountain pen is fitted with a 14 karat gold inlaid nib unit. And when I think about inlaid nib units or semi-hooded units, I think to myself that the oblique ones and the broad ones are quite rare. In my opinion, I think I have a really nice looking nib. And you can see by the top of it that the iridium ending or that hard metal ending that touches the paper, it is in perfectly good state. I can hardly I'm so excited to do the writing sample with this beautiful nib. Guys, I paid a reasonable sum for this fountain pen, and I don't remember exactly the sum, but it was surely around 250 lays, which means approximately 50.53 euros or 57.86 American dollars. And this is not the first Sheaffer Targa in my collection. In fact, if you watch my channel, you will be familiarized with this Sheaffer, another Sheaffer Targa, but this time in sterling silver 925. The code name of this model is 1006, and of course, it cost me a larger sum of money because it's all finished in this sterling silver solid variant of material. We will test them. We will see if they have compatible parts. But before we start comparing them and checking their details, I thought to myself that I should tell you a little bit of a story about this famous model from the Sheaffer American brand. Well, you must know that it was first produced in 1976. The Sheaffer Targa owes its name to the Targa Florio, an open road endurance race held near Palermo in Sicily. So, this famous automobilistic race was founded in 1906, and it was one of the oldest sports car racing events until it stopped in 1977. And another interesting thing about the Sheaffer Targa is that in the last steps of developing this product, they named it Genesis. But the marketing team considered that this is a bad name for naming a product and selling it in Middle Eastern regions due to the religious controversy or something like that, and they stuck to the name Sheaffer Targa. When we look at my model is one of the earliest models introduced in the line of Sheaffer Targas. I will leave on the screen the variety of Sheaffer Targas, and from the cheapest one, the steel version, to the all gold solid version, which sold for over £4,000 at some point. This particular color is in a black matte finish, quite nice looking one. And you must know that the first variants had the top of the cap had a ring. This part was all covered in that gold plated band. In fact, this is an early version of the pen, and based on the black derby and gold tone ornament, it is the third version of the first edition. And the production of this date should be late 70s and early 1980s. Again, a black enamel cap and barrel, and the finish is done with a 20 karat gold electroplated trim. You can see one thin ring here, another one that holds the clip. The clip is quite interesting. You can see that hollow space in the center of it, all gold plated, electroplated 24 karat gold. Quite nice and springy one. Of course, we can distinguish also the famous white dot, which is the lifetime warranty offered by Sheaffer to the first owner of the fountain pen. And other interesting elements are the ending of the cap, which is symmetrical with the ending of the barrel, and they all end in this circle, this metallic circle, quite nice looking. We have a pressure fit cap, and it reveals this beautiful inlaid gold nib. As a comparison between the two models, guys, it's interesting that if we put them side by side, this model, the matte black one, is approximately 1 millimeter longer than the solid sterling silver version. And if we zoom on them, we can see some differences in the fact that the cap ends this time in a black circle, and we have the same difference at the end of the barrel. This has silver trims, and this has gold, 24 karat gold electroplated trims. Interesting that the ring here, we have a black ring that matches the black circle, and we have some inscriptions on the cap. On the black one we have Sheaffer USA, and on the other one we have sterling silver Sheaffer USA. And what I find fascinating about the finishes of this fountain pens, well, this black one comes with the original Sheaffer stainless steel removable converter. So it can be also used with cartridges. You can see, let me show you the original Sheaffer converter. It is quite similar with the aromatic filling mechanism of the Parker 51, but this time we can remove this converter by unscrewing it. So this is the original converter. And what I find fascinating is that this nib can be switched with the others. At this time, the silver one doesn't have the original Sheaffer ink converter. It has only a cartridge. But I want to show you that this is compatible, so I can put it right here. And the other one should be also compatible. Yes. And voila. So the inner part can be switched between them. I find this quite nice. So if you have different types of Sheaffer Targas, you can switch the nib units between them. This interesting about this product, it is a slim product, and this was the tendency of the 1970s. They wanted to replace, in a way, the ballpoint pen, which always had that slim looking design. So this was the tendency back then to make a fountain pen quite slim. And I have also the classic ones. So this particular model is a Mont Blanc Meisterstück from 1983, which in a way maintains the classical design of a German piston filler with an integrated German piston filler with its characteristic cigar shape. So not quite slim fountain pens, but I want to put them as a comparison between the tendencies of the 1970s and the 1980s in fountain pen design, and you can see the difference between them. Let me show you all of them side by side. So I have the Mont Blanc 146. I have the Sheaffer Targa in Black Mate 1003. Near I have a Parker model. After that I have a Sheaffer Targa 1006 in solid silver. Next I have an Aurora fountain pen. Next I have a fountain pen made by Omas and a Dior fountain pen, also from the 1970s. And it ends in symmetrical, let's say, order with another Mont Blanc 146 from 1983, identical to the first Mont Blanc that you see displayed on my desk. So now, guys, I will leave the dimensions of my fountain pen on the screen, and remember that I've exchanged the nib units, so I will take this out and place it in its original body. So let me put this back. It's interesting, guys. By the way, this section remains the same. So if we have some silver plated streams, this ring it remains gold plated like the other one. And I think that this is a trait of production, of course, to cut some costs. So they only put focus on the design of the body, and practically the nib unit remained the same. But still quite nice touches, and still an enjoyable series by Sheaffer. I like it a lot because it's quite a slim model, and I think it will do a nice job. So let me put this aside. And guys, why not? I will try to fill this original Sheaffer ink converter. I hope it still works. If it doesn't work, we will try to use a cartridge. And I remember I had some difficulties on this model, in the sense that I don't think that this Sheaffer model can accommodate a universal ink cartridge. We will see about that. I think I will try to do writing samples with both of the nibs. So I have an oblique broad nib, and the other one I think it has a fine or a medium nib, but we will see about that in a moment. So for ink, I thought to myself that a Mont Blanc royal blue ink will be just fine, and I will start with filling our fountain pen. I'm quite excited, guys. You know that I love oblique nibs, and this should be quite a nice treat for me. So I love the aromatic filling mechanism. I think it's quite nice. And a nice thing about the Sheaffer is the fact that they design this system, and this system can be easily removed. So if it breaks, you can easily replace it with another ink converter, or if you don't have one around, you can use a ink cartridge. So quite a nice system. Okay, guys, so before I use the ink, let's give it a little shake. I will open it like this. Now I will insert this like this. I make sure that it is perfectly. I want to be secure that it doesn't leak the ink, and I hope it will do the job. Let me see. You hear that bubbles? This is a nice thing, so only. Okay, I think it drew the ink. Let me get a little tissue. Let me see. Okay, so I have my little tissue here. I will remove the excess of the ink from the grip section, and I will put for the moment the ink here because I want to test if it writes. I'm sorry, guys. Before I will do the actual writing sample, let me change the angle of the camera. Okay, so I've changed the angle of the camera in order for you to see better the writing sample. Judging by the way it is designed, I don't recommend that you post it because it doesn't have a plastic, let's say, cover, this metallic. So it definitely can be posted, and I will show you, but I don't recommend this because in time it will sure develop micro scratches, so use it uncapped. Okay, so guys, I have here a Sheaffer Targa. The model is 1003 in a black. Let me say to you that oblique medium nib has broad nib has in general oblique nib has a sweet spot, so you have to hold it in a certain way to put the ink on paper. So it's quite strange. This has gold tribs, 24 karat electro plated. This is a pen made in USA, and it was produced in the late 1970s and early in the 1980s. Quite a nice fountain pen. It is fitted with 14 karat 585 gold nib. Is the so-called inlaid inlaid nib. But this particular nib is quite a nice oblique broad nib. Okay, let me zoom on it. Yes, guys, for you to see better. What is an oblique nib? If you watch, the end of the nib is cut in a diagonal shape, so you can see it. And better for you to see the difference, let me show you the other nib on the silver plated one. And we will do a comparison between them. So at the right side we have the simple one, and on the left side we have the oblique one. So look at the differences between the two nibs. There is a difference. This is a version of the Sheaffer. You can see with the 585 on the left side, and this has it on the right side. But I don't want you to focus on that part, but focus on the ending, the actual ending. So this is an F or a medium nib, and this is the oblique broad nib. So this is one of the differences, and I think they have the both have that plastic feeder. So remember, guys, I will also do a writing sample with this one. Maybe not all of the parts, but the parts when I write about the fox. Or maybe let's do all the stuff that I do with this with the other one. But the other one, I will use it as a D pen. I'm not so sure that this cartridge, this international cartridge, is fitted quite properly to it. Maybe it will link ink. I'm not so sure. But why take the chance? I can simply dip it in ink. And I will do that in a few more moments. So let me put this here. Gold nib, inlaid nib, oblique broad nib. Now, guys, if I will give a little zoom, I want to show you how flexible this nib is. And I don't think it will be a quite flexible nib, but I'm trying to show you. What I love, let me see if I can zoom out. What I love about this nib is these variations. You can do quite nice variations with it. This is why I love an oblique nib. I can't call it a flexible nib, look at it. So the tines don't move. In fact, this is one of the characteristics of this nib. So if I write with this like this, very thin lines, but if I do this, you can see the difference. So those normal lines and this wide lines. Quite a juicy one. Okay, so this was this nib. And now I will put it right here. I will zoom out, and let me try to do the same thing with a normal nib, also an inlaid nib, for you to have an idea. So I will try to do the same exercise that I did with this one. So you can see the difference. Sorry about the ink flow, I will try to compensate it. So this is a fine, yes, I think it's, yes, definitely a fine nib. And not such juice as the other one, but remember, guys, I don't have the same ink flow. Maybe I will try to put it for some minutes over there. And meanwhile, I will continue with the oblique one, the star of this video. So, oblique, and I have done this test. Now, let me see if I can do the pressure test. Okay, let me zoom on it. Yes, so here I don't have pressure, And here I'm trying to deliver as much pressure as I can. So yes, we don't have a line variance, no line variance, guys. Let me see how I can do a signature with it. Yes, and it is a good signature fountain pen, but again, you must do the signature in a certain angle for it to have a result. And I'm curious to see if I can reverse write in a way with this. Maybe if I can hold it like this. No, definitely no reverse writing. So returning to our simple one, let me see if now I have the juice to show you. Let me show you first the line variance if we have some. So no pressure, and here a little pressure. No line variance, no line variance. I'm disappointed about this ink flow, but I think I had the same troubles when I did its review. So maybe it's a thing of the nib. I'm certainly quite disappointed over it. But you get the idea, guys. A fine nib is a simple nib. An oblique one is a more sophisticated nib. And not for every one of us. So, I don't want to write with that anymore. Believe me, it's quite not a good experience. I hate when I don't have that ink flow. So I will tell you about the quick brown folks right over here. Let me see a little zoom. So the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. You can see it writes beautifully. But guys, I must show you how this compares. So I will do only the end of the sentence. Over the lazy dog. So don't mind the lack of ink, but look at the lines. It's the same handwriting, and look how an oblique nib just transforms your handwriting. For me, it is quite nice, and I love the oblique nibs. I especially like the oblique nibs on open nibs, especially those who were made in Germany in the 1950s. The gold ones or the steel ones, I don't have any preferences because they all write amazingly, guys. So this was my review of a beautiful Sheaffer Targa, a nice fountain pen. I am sure that you can find this at a reasonable price. I'm not so sure that the oblique nib is rare, but certainly is more rare bird than those fitted with the classic fine or medium nib. I want to thank you for your time, guys. I want to wish you to have a nice day wherever you are. I want to thank you for your time, and I will see you at the next episode. Till then, please take care of yourselves in this pandemic time, and God bless you all. Bye bye.